Welcome to Ion Franchising, where you will learn the A to Z's of franchising. Well, hello, everyone. We're back for another great episode of Ion Franchising. I am your host, Lance Graulich. Today, I have a special guest, a friend of mine, Adam Povlitz. And Adam is the CEO of Anago Cleaning Systems, one of the hot brands that I represent. And boy, I can't wait to have you guys hear from Adam in the next 30 minutes or so. Well, welcome, Adam.
Hey, Lance, how you doing?
Doing fantastic. I'm so happy you're here. We, have to get cleaned up, so we needed a heavy-duty cleaner, and here you are. So, without further ado, Adam, let's dive right into your journey. How did Adam get to be the CEO of a major, high-performing cleaning franchise like you are? Give me the good stuff.
Yeah. No, it's been at Anago, it's been a 12-year journey. But my background is actually corporate finance. My father founded the company. I was never someone who wanted to work in the quote unquote family business. So even though the company was founded back in '89, I didn't get involved until about 2009. I was actually with IBM for a little while, and I was recruited in this huge hiring wave, and then it was around end of 2008, beginning of 2009, where we all know what was happening in the economy back then.
Yeah.
I was on a team that basically we went through, and we didn't have any employees' names, we had employee numbers, and we were going through and determining who was going to be let go, getting the golden parachutes, getting the early retirement offer. And it just something stuck with me on that I don't know, those several months of going through all of that, where I was like, I'm lucky enough to be on the team that's deciding it this time. I might not be so lucky next time.
Yeah.
And I was actually in town visiting my dad for the holidays, and he goes, "Man, I got the tiger by the tail with this cleaning franchising thing. You got to come check it out." And the rest, as they say, is history. It was 6 months later I joined. He goes, "Congratulations, you've left your highfalutin finance job, and your first job at Anago, you're going to be a telemarketer by day and a franchisee's assistant at night cleaning a daycare."
And then you immediately thought to yourself, what the heck did I just do?
Exactly. What was I thinking? No, but he insisted that I start from the bottom up. And so, I did telemarketing. I was cleaning a daycare, and this was like pre-diaper genie days. So you had to just take a deep breath and grab the pail. And, it was, it was fun times. It was crappy work that day, literally.
It was literally crappy work, but getting to do all the tasks, all the jobs. Boy, I mean, I have a newfound appreciation. When I was in the restaurant business, and I'm still in the restaurant business, I had to do it all, because then nobody could tell me, well, you've never done it, so you don't understand it.
Yep.
Right?
No, and so I worked my way through. I was actually working in the South Florida master franchise. So after and I was working for a unit franchisee that they graciously volunteered my labor for.
Free labor.
Yeah, but I did customer service, I did sales, I did franchise sales, and then I moved to the corporate office, and I started. I think they had me start in human resources, and the whole point, he goes, "I want you to get everybody's job description, find out what everybody does, and learn." And ultimately, it was to build my own team. I mean, obviously there were some changes we made, and some other people that we were like, wow, these are great people that are, we're going to put our core around. And when I was promoted to president in 2015, and the former CEO, or former president and CEO, he goes, "You had this long funky title at IBM," because they're all acronyms. They have a million characters to them, because that's the IBM way. But he goes, "I'm going to give you a title that no one else is going to call you." And he got me a business card holder that says PUDSOBIC. And I'll keep it clean for the podcast here, but he goes, "Poor, unfortunate, dumb SOB in charge." And I appreciated him for that, because some days, it feels like that. But no, overall, it's been good. We're growing, we're changing, and and I get to oversee it all.
So give me the meat, so to speak. In the franchise world, restaurants are so popular. For some reason, people think the restaurant business is some sexy sort of business because you get to feed your whole family. You get to see customers in your restaurant. I don't know. I mean, I've always enjoyed it. However, it's not the easiest business. Commercial cleaning is certainly not a sexy business, but it's certainly needed.
Mhm.
And you have competitors out there, but McDonald's has competitors as well, and some very, very good competitors. And I consider you kind of like the McDonald's of commercial cleaning. So tell me, how did it get to that? What really is that secret sauce to why Anago flew so high? I mean, you're highly ranked in the Entrepreneur 500. So what really has gotten you there?
Um, I don't know if we're the McDonald's, but I appreciate the compliment there. It for us, it's always been something where because of the background I came from, right? I came into when I finally moved to the corporate office. I was a kid. I was 20 something years old, flying around, and my first role after HR and learning everyone's jobs was flying around the country, meeting with our master franchisors, understanding what their needs were, and understanding and kind of a servant leadership role. Very much, hey, what can we do to help you grow your business, versus a top-down approach. And I think that's what's been effective. Is we're there's no pride in authorship at Anago. The best ideas, to reference McDonald's, right? The best ideas of like an egg McMuffin was invented by a franchisee. We
Fillet of fish as well.
Yeah. And so I think we're comfortable kind of taking off our own proverbial high hats and promoting what our franchisees want to do, and how they see, how boots on the ground sees this business growing.
Right. Awesome. Well, and look, to further use the McDonald's example, so many people think in terms of McDonald's as that gold standard in franchising.
Right.
And you and a few other competitors you are the McDonald's. You are the gold standard, so to speak. Maybe all of you, like McDonald's, when people think of commercial cleaning. So tell me, all the listeners either have, some of them own a franchise now and are looking to do another one. Others, it's their first venture into any sort of business of their own. Why Anago? What is, give me, take as much time as you need. Give me the breakdown of why Anago is such a special brand.
So yeah, that's a heck of a loaded question there. No, I'm kidding. No, I mean there's a lot of great reasons, right? I mean, as you mentioned, right? Neither restaurant franchising nor commercial cleaning franchising are easy, right? That's probably a common misconception about any franchise, brand, that it's going to be easy. And you have to explain to folks, no, you're a startup when you start this. There's a lot of help you're going to get from the corporate office. There's a lot of training. There's a lot of mistakes that you don't have to make, that we or someone of our franchisees has made over the years. But I think the kind of secret sauce from Anago is a few things. Number one, in the space, we maybe I'm tooting my own horn here, but I believe and comparatively
toot away.
We are the technology leader in the space. We realized a long time ago, right, that you're not going to compete on price in this business, because it is a commodity. We're all selling each other bottled water here. It's cleaning. It's not legal services or something. And so if you're not going to compete on price, then you have to go, okay, well, when am I going to compete on product? And you go, okay, no, because all of my competitors can also get the same backpack vacuums and microfiber cloths and all the same sort of stuff that we can get. And so really we kind of decided a long time ago, we said, if we're not going to compete on that, what business are we really in? And the business that we decided we're going to say we're in is customer service. And you can win on customer service. We've been picking on restaurant franchise all morning, so let's continue, right? But you think of like a brand like a Chick-fil-A or something like that, where everyone has their opinion on how good the chicken is. but the customer service by far is second to none. You know, every time you ask for an extra refill on soda, my pleasure.
Absolutely.
And so what we've done is we said, let's focus on how we can utilize technology to be the customer service leader in the industry as well. And so we have proprietary software where, and let me actually explain this better, because if you go to a restaurant, you can have I would say one of three experiences. First, you go in and you can have a phenomenal experience. You have a great, food is great, service is great. You could go in and have a kind of terrible experience, right? The waiter's a jerk, the food is cold.
Right.
Or you can kind of have just sort of a non-memorable, middle of the road, like, meh, if I was invited there for someone's birthday, I'd go, but it's not my first choice.
Right.
Just some sort of. In cleaning, we don't have three, we have two. Either you walk into your office and you go, okay, I got to work. You don't even think about the cleaning. Or you walk into your office and you go, why the heck is my trash still full? Or why is there smudges all over my desk, right? So nobody comes in and goes, oh my gosh, I got to buy my janitor a birthday present. It's so clean. It doesn't happen. So what our technology does is it allows, we acknowledge that. We say, okay, we're not here to make friends. But the best way to make a friend in this business is to be incredibly fast and easy to complain to and have resolutions created. So our technology is designed literally around, you see an issue, you snap a picture of it on your smartphone, it automatically goes back to that master franchise's office. Their brand management team takes a look. The franchisee automatically, who's cleaning the facility, the unit franchise gets a text. So they know they have to respond in it. It's built in, right, with multiple languages. As we know, we're moving into a multi-language economy at this point. And so now,
multicultural world we're in.
Exactly. And so as a customer, you're taken care of, because you're not going like, didn't they say there was a book or something that I'm supposed to leave notes in to do it? Do I have to wait 2 days before this guy's going to clean this stuff up? Does anyone here speak Spanish or Romanian or whatever it may be? Can you leave a note for us? Because we don't. It eliminates all of that. And if you allow a customer to kind of to complain to you with ease in this business, that's how you make a friend.
I love it. So to sum up on that, the technology piece, is that a proprietary software?
Yes.
That was developed by you guys?
Yes, that is. That's something we did in-house with a kind of a team of developers that we had hired. And so I would say that has to be number one, is make it easy to fix issues, because you're not getting any birthday presents from customers.
Well, effective communication's key regardless, not only within franchisees and the franchisor, but obviously, like you said, with your customers.
Right. And then I would say, with the master franchise model. So we're a 3-tier franchise. Most think of 2 tiers. So like we said, McDonald's, so McDonald's corporate, and then the folks that own the restaurants. We are a 3-tier franchise. So we have, I'm at the corporate office, if you will. We sell what we call a master franchise. A master franchise, these are mega territories. These are for people who are very serious about going very big with a franchise opportunity, and they're going to own an exclusive territory. We just sold, for example, like all of San Antonio, Texas to one couple.
Wow.
Major territory sizes. We just sold all of Omaha, Nebraska to another one couple. So you're talking about multiple million people in your territory as a master franchise owner. And what their job is if you think about commercial cleaning, they don't do any cleaning. So that's a common misconception in our industry.
Wait, there's a highlight for everybody listening. This is a commercial cleaning franchise that you buy as a franchisee or as a master, and you do not clean.
Right. Sounds, yeah, right. So far it's a little weird, right? But no, and so the idea is, if you were to think of the commercial cleaning business, what do you have, right? You have people who have to do easiest way to explain it is, you have people who are doing the day job and the night job, because commercial cleaning, or the cleaning aspect, usually is done at night. So the master franchise comes into the business and they're doing the day job. They're running a sales team. they're managing customer service, they do the invoicing and the collections. And so then they're also selling unit franchises, and unit franchisees that they sell, right? That creates a revenue stream for the master franchise, of course. But secondarily, they benefit as the unit because they don't have to know anything about marketing, advertising, creating a website, running a sales team.
Right.
They need to know how to operate the chemicals, or I'm sorry, the equipment, how the chemicals work, hiring a team, hiring a crew, doing, you know, some degree of customer service, usually in the evening, some daytime customer service. And so what it does is it actually creates this kind of, if you think of commercial cleaning as one big industry and we break it apart into master and unit, the unit is very blue collar oriented, very low cost, and growing like crazy right now. Well, we can talk about that in a second. This pandemic has made a lot of people realize that commercial cleaning is no joke, and a great industry at the unit level to get into. And then the master franchise is someone with, you know, a sales and marketing background. They know how to run a sales team. They have a managerial background, and they're running kind of a very large entity or enterprise with very few staff, because they only are dealing with, as direct staff, sales, accounting, and operations.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it sounds like the master franchise model, because of course I know your brand. You know, I have people that come to me every day, and I had a call earlier this morning, and Lance, I want to build generational wealth. I want to leave my job. I want financial freedom. I have some sales ability. I have some money saved. I can also get an SBA loan. Sounds like a perfect candidate for you for a master franchise, right?
Yeah, send them our way.
Absolutely. So let me ask, when you think in terms of, let's talk a little more about what I just said. When you think of your top franchisees, your top master franchisees, what are some of the traits or qualities that they have? So maybe somebody listening has a few bucks. We can talk about the investment level after that. But, you know, what are those qualities you're looking for in a master franchisee? Obviously, they don't have to have cleaning experience.
Yeah, no cleaning experience necessary. That's, you know, that's the headline, right? You know, commercial cleaning franchises available, no cleaning necessary. No, I think the main characteristics we look for, I mean, number one, and probably the overriding characteristic, has to be drive. This is not a what I would call a farmer franchise, right? It's not, you know, you build it, then you till the land and everything kind of develops, and, you know, it's not a field of dreams. It's not
plant the crops and come back in an X period of time and see what happens.
Yeah, no. This is a hunter franchise, right? This is where someone every day gets up and, you know, maybe that type A personality where it's like, if I haven't sold something, I didn't do much today. Now, they don't have to necessarily, most of our top performing master franchisees don't have some hardcore, you know, sales background in their background. But what they do have is it's that drive. It's that every day, okay, what else can I sell? What other customers do I need to speak with to make sure that they're happy? What else can I do? Versus someone who's kind of a little bit more laid back, and that, you know, I mean, we do the personality profiling, and that profile word, I think is achiever. If someone's an achiever, if you have that daily need for achievement, this is a great fit for you.
Yeah, you know, a common thing I ask people, you know, when you think of your top franchisees, then also think of your bottom franchisees. And sad to say, there are poor performers in every organization. You know, to pick on McDonald's some more, there's top franchisees and there's the bottom franchisees, and the difference tends to be exactly what you just said. You know, who are the achievers out there? Your business doesn't grow on its own, right?
Right. I was told by a CEO of a competitor. I mean, we all, you know, it's a small world. We all bump into each other at the IFA conferences and that sort of stuff. And he goes, Adam, he goes, you have about 20%, 10 to 20% of your franchisees who, no matter what you do, they're going to be successful. So you could, I mean, you could run this thing horrendously and they're going to just crush it. That's who they are. That's how hardwired they are.
True.
And you're going to have probably, 10% of your franchisees that no matter what you do, they're not going to be successful. And that, I think it really does. It's not in Anago, it's not in cleaning, it's not in restaurants, it's not in franchising. I think it just boils down a lot to personality, and mentality of anyone opening any kind of business, whether franchise or otherwise.
100%.
But I would at
Absolutely.
least, yeah, but I would at least argue that in franchising and in Anago, I could say we have a higher success rate just in general because there's someone like us at a corporate franchise level backing them up, helping them even when they're limping along. And it's not a lot of people. I don't want to make it seem like it's something crazy or anything like that, but
No.
there's always going to be in every franchise business the ultra successful and those that are not quite as successful. But
Hey, it's like that in any business. It's like
Right.
that, look,
Right.
look, I was in the restaurant business. You have top servers, food servers, waiters, waitresses, and you have people that are the bottom. There's always somebody on the bottom. That's
Right.
just the nature of the world. So let's talk about your process. So myself, as a large franchise broker, I introduce people to you. First thing I do is make sure that the territory is available, and then they're introduced to you and to your team. Describe the process a little bit. Talk about validation. Some people don't understand the validation stage and how you might do it, and just go through that a little bit.
Sure. So the first few steps is just kind of the getting to know you phase, right? It's learning about someone, learning
The coffee
about
date.
Yes. It's who are you and what can I do for you kind of a thing. It's explaining our model, it's going through our disclosure document, walking someone through that and saying, okay, here is I always explain it as, the old sales adage that tell them what you're about to tell them what you told them. That's what a franchise disclosure document, an FDD is, right? You have your
Absolutely.
FDD, it's tell them what you're about to get yourself into, and then here's the actual contract that you're about to sign, and then kind of a summary, stuff at the end. But it's just making sure that they understand the model, they understand what they're getting themselves into in terms of just general in any brand. I mean, it's all franchises have this document. But then with us, I think we've moved quickly into the validation phase with our master franchise prospects, just because it's one thing to hear it from me, it's one thing to read it in a book, but I'm a firm believer that you can't learn how to drive a car by reading a manual. You got to just get behind the wheel, right?
Absolutely.
And so same thing with validation. So we say, look, if there's anybody you'd like to call out of the back of the book, feel free. Here is their name and number. Here's how it works. We'll also, we typically do, hey, let's do some introductions just so you can have some people to start with. And then we deliberately, I mean, I say, let's give out some names that are, again, call anybody you'd like, but let's give somebody nearby. Let's give somebody who's somewhere else in the country, similar market, totally different market, someone who's been in the business for a long time and made their millions, and someone who's not been in the business but a few months and just went through training, and then just a few random ones in there, and that usually gets them started. And the point of that is if you can hear someone else saying, like, here's what I just went through training 4 months ago, here's what it felt like, here's what I felt like, here is what Anago does, here is what, all of that. And then you have another guy who's seen it all, right? If you own one of these franchise businesses for 10 15 years, there's very little you haven't seen, and so it just gives someone a really good color of what does it feel like as a day in the life as a master franchise owner.
I love that explanation. And I tell people all the time, I'm essentially the matchmaker. I set people up on their first coffee date, the dinner date, meet the parents, the whole scenario you go through meeting corporate. And at the end of the day, though, the cultural fit is incredibly important. And that's what you were just sort of emphasizing there. When you're talking to people that were in your shoes 6 months ago or 6 years ago, some of them which that are now multimillionaires from this business. Because, a lot of people, when they get into franchising, forget. A lot of people say, well, I don't just want to buy a job. And I said, well, you got to remember this job, as you say, there's equity you're building.
Mhm.
You know, you're buying a business that you're building up, and your business is worth a multiple of that cash flow that you build up, that you will have an opportunity to sell one day if you choose to, for a multiple of that cash flow. And a lot of people tend to forget about that piece.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell anybody who, because, we have people that the core focus, obviously, in our business, ends up being, like I said, sales and customer service. I tell anybody, because part of as part of the validation, I personally do a call with every master franchise prospect, once they've shown enough interest and are moving along. And we literally, in our CRM, it's called the culture fit call. And it's I'm interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing me to make sure that this feels like a right fit, because we're not just trying to sell to anybody with a pulse. We're trying to make sure that the folks we're selling these franchises to are a good fit, that they're hungry, that they're driven. And what was I about to say? I literally just forgot where I was going with that.
Well, it's the culture fit, as you said. It is
Right.
franchising is a two-way street.
Right.
It's
And
not. Yeah.
now I remember. And we tell, I one of the first things, I literally have it on my notes for every single one. I go, if you're doing this to buy yourself, a sales job, or something like that, don't do it. This is
Right.
not for you. This is too big of an opportunity, frankly, for you, because this, if you're just looking to have a sales job, I'll hire you. I could
Right.
definitely use some crack salespeople all the time. This is bigger than that. This is running ultimately the goal would be running a multi-million-dollar business, not just having a sales job where you clock in 9 to 5 every day. That's, why buy a business if you're going to do that?
Well, and that's the whole theme to franchising in general. Regardless of the franchise, we are all looking for achievers that want to get up in the morning. You don't have a boss, so you have to choose to get up, preferably early, and get some things done, right? Check
Yeah.
off your list, so to speak.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, that I think is the hardest part for any new franchisee, right? It's a bit overwhelming, especially if it's not an industry that you're moving into franchising, that's not an industry you're familiar with. But at the same time, it's something where you have to self-motivate every single day. And there's going to be days that are not going to feel great. Your kid's sick from school that day, or whatever may have, it's raining out. I mean, I don't know, whatever slows you down that day.
Adam, you bring up a great point. The motivation seems to always be there are people that absolutely hate their jobs or feel like they're completely unappreciated, and they just want to be their own boss.
Yeah.
And when that motivation is so much larger than the fact that maybe they weren't terribly disciplined as an employee, they're going to figure it out pretty quickly as their own boss, because they don't want to go back to getting a job, right?
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about two things: training, and let's talk about the investment level, and let's talk about training as well.
Sure. So this is not our franchise fee is pretty reasonable. It's $98,000. The investment level after that is it's roughly another, call it $200,000 to $300,000. And the bulk of that now, and I know that probably the listeners are hear that number and they go, oh, whoa. But if you think about one of the benefits in our franchise model is that it's not tied up in some sort of crazy, no offense, restaurant build out, some major real estate purchase that has to be made. The vast majority of your initial investment is going to be spent directly on sales generators. So it's going to be on staffing. You need salespeople. It's going to be, depending on what market you're in, it's going to be your rent is going to be a big cost, but it's not something too crazy, a couple grand a month. And it's all the rest is marketing. We have great, PPC programs, SEO programs, email marketing, text message marketing. I mean, the full cadre of marketing programs. And that's where the investment is. And I tell someone who's kind of apprehensive about spending that number, I go, wow, that's, it is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. And I go, listen, I go, that's like buying a Papa John's franchising and telling me, how nervous you are about spending a bunch of money on cheese.
Right.
This is a sales and marketing franchise, and you're
Yep.
spending on sales and marketing.
Yeah, the reality though is the word expensive or that's too much or this or whatever. It's all about value. And at the end of the day, an Anago master can produce an amazing amount of income and equity as you grow it. So the value is absolutely there because I know your numbers, and anybody that wants to investigate Anago with me or you will start to learn that. Let's talk a little bit about training. So when somebody comes on board as a master franchisee, we talked about the fact that people come from all walks of life. They certainly know nothing about the cleaning business. They know nothing about, generally speaking, the launching of a franchise brand, especially a master. So how does that work?
So we are a huge proponent of, almost too much hand holding. I tease and I say, we're going to be like that, that boyfriend or girlfriend you had in high school that wouldn't stop calling you, going, hey, is everything okay? Is everything, what's going on? You haven't talked to me in a week. No, but we're very pro over. I would rather overtrain. We say you're going to drink from the fire hose. The initial training is about a week and a half down in our corporate office. And it's usually, I think it's like 4 days and then 3 days the following week. And you're going to learn everything. I mean, it's going to be overwhelming. Let's be honest, right? It's a lot. It's sales training. It's customer service training. It's CRM training. It's everything we can think of. After that, then we still have probably another half a dozen Zoom training. So now it's virtual training. You can be back in your office, but we're going to do a bunch of online trainings. We also have a few field reps, and we schedule deliberately for your first year as a master franchise owner. You're going to get about 5 or 6 field visits, and they're going to spend 3-4 days with you in your office in the field. So, you leave training, and I think it's 2 or 3 weeks later, we send out the field rep for the first visit. And now it's, hey, let's run appointments together. These sales appointments together. Let's look through the resumes you're getting for inside and outside sales. Let's go, let's work through this. Let's do some unit franchise pitches together, so that you as a master owner, a new master owner, feel comfortable.
Love it.
And then usually he's going to be out there every other month from there on, for your first year. And we only really drop it to maybe 3 visits your second year. So you're going to get, 9 visits, no charge, no extra fees or anything like that, all included in it, because we so it's 2 weeks of training and then 9 visits in the next couple of years. We want these folks to be, to feel like, that they're not floundering in any given moment, that they're not going like, what do I do next? That's the scariest question as a franchisor. If your franchisee says, what do I do next?
Wow.
It's like, we always have 5-6 steps ahead of you of, okay, now go do this. Here's your next week. Focus on this until they get, they get the hang of things, they get rolling, and then we can kind of, we can back off and not be as, as, hey, again, it's us. Hey again.
Well, Adam, we've discussed and unloaded a lot of information. What did I miss that you'd like to share? The audience is craving knowledge about the franchise space. They've learned certainly a lot about Anago and commercial cleaning in general. What else would you like to share in the final thoughts today?
Great question.
We covered it all?
Never. I think everyone, I think, for all the listeners, I think number one, if you're looking to get into business for yourself, I think bravo. I think it's a brave decision, especially in the crazy world we're living in. But this happens to be an industry that is thriving right now. With I would argue, and obviously COVID has been, a worldwide disaster with the pandemic, the closures, all these things going on. But what it's done for the commercial cleaning franchising space is probably the same thing that happened to pharmaceutical sales in the 90s. Literally, when it used to be that the doctor the sales rep would go in and push whatever the new drug is to the doctor, who would then sell it to the patient. And then what happened? Pfizer came out with Viagra. and everybody wanted Viagra, right? People are, they went direct to consumer and started advertising, and men were knocking down doors, maybe, and women too, right? Saying, get that blue pill. And that's what's happened with commercial cleaning in this space. We used to be a budget line item that most people kind of just said, okay, how do we minimize this? There was a study that came out by, I think it was ISSA, that International Sanitary Standards Association, that said, and I think this was in 2019, like, what do you want to do with your commercial cleaning budget? And everyone was like, minimize it, don't worry about it. And now that's been flipped on its head, because you don't fire the janitor in the middle of the germ pandemic, right? I mean, it's become something where people are seeking out companies that aren't just the mom and pop anymore. They want experts in the field. And that's caused, for, in our industry, obviously, I mean, a significant growth in revenue, from cleaning, a significant growth in long-term customers adding additional services for like disinfection. People are much more conscious about, germs nowadays. And when millions of people were told that they weren't essential last year, which, horrible choice of words from our, Uncle Sam, I guess, but
yeah.
And cleaning, it turns out, is essential. We've had this huge boom in unit franchise sales that the master franchises, I mean, are deliberately going out of their way to be more selective and saying, okay, there's way too many people wanting to buy a unit franchise from the master office now, because they went and they were not essential in some of these other industries that you'd think, like a bartending or something like that, that'd be around forever. They go, I don't want to deal with that uncertainty if there's ever something like this ever happens again. Right. So the industry is booming. It's growing. The revenue's growing. I would say one of the best testimonials we got is from one of our franchise owners, Mark, in Detroit. And Mark said, he goes, when my consultant introduced me to commercial cleaning, I said, cleaning, and then they showed me the revenue numbers, the business model, and my eyes opened wide when I saw how the whole thing really works.
We all think differently when somebody else paints the picture of the profit path.
Right. And so I think as someone who's looking to get into a business, I would say, I forget who, I'm stealing somebody's quote here, but they say successful people do what unsuccessful people are unwilling to do. And so everybody and their mother sees the name brand franchises that we all see, every day, and they go, oh, I want to do that too. But when you start thinking about some of the industries that are these mega billion-dollar industries, don't forget the ones that are your sleepers, like a commercial cleaning, where you go, wait a minute, there's how much money? This stuff doesn't get exported to China. Amazon's not coming to town to replace your local commercial cleaning company. This is a business that's staying and going to grow over the next, I think commercial cleaning, I remember it was a Department of Labor statistic that said that people looking to get new janitorial staff is growing more than every field other than nurses. I mean, think about that, right? Because everything else is being automated. You can't automate home healthcare or hospital healthcare, and you can't automate commercial cleaning.
Absolutely not. Well, great business to be in, Adam. This was fantastic. I appreciate you being here with me. Adam, Anago Cleaning Systems. In the show notes, we'll have all the contact info. So you can get in touch with me, of course, and Adam as well. So thanks again, Adam.
Thanks, Lance. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for listening today. Please like, follow, and subscribe. This is Lance Graulich. Until next time.